like we are at the gates of, or the Bezos, or we are the top of the hill here in Kenya. So we're gonna go back and say we were at the White House. Who said that there's not a White House in Africa? When Joan was coming, they told her all the bad things about Africa. She's going to have to go back and disappoint that she didn't find anybody living on trees, nobody walking bare feet. So you did not do a good job, because she's going to want to come back. What an honor, sincerely. Our host, John, your husband, whenever we have him speak, he makes Africa look so good. And so we at Nehemiah always trying to find an excuse to put John on the program. So he's a statement. Thank you. Let's give God a hand clap for that. Thank you so much. But I did not know that he was also a king with his own territory. I didn't know he had founded this estate. 12,000 families. And I understand that some believe that he sold all of them the land. So he's also a secretly very wealthy man. Thank you so much. We know that journey could never happen without you, madam. The fact that he brought you to a jungle and made you believe and stay here for a while with all the animals, you deserve everything he gives you today. Thank you so much for your faith and your loyalty. Before I say something about my wife and then about John, let me say this. Thank you, sincerely. When I began my journey, sometimes I'm confused. I don't know whether I'm American or African. Depends on where I am. Today I'm African. But I began my journey among African Americans. It was our struggle. Because when I went to America, after overcoming my rebellion, I figured if you cannot beat them, join them. So I became a gangster. I had my earring. My children only been my earring back. But I threw parties. I lived life. And it was fun. But it was also reckless and irresponsible. But in that process, I always had a consciousness for the black struggle. I had caught from my mother this sense of helping the underdog. And the fact that privilege is to be used to lift others up. Even in my hoodlum days, even in my days of struggle, I was always the guy who was looking out for the underdog. That was in me. I even started a club when I found that in my school that this group of Africans were being made fun of because they were Africans, they were Ethiopians. They didn't speak much English. So just to defend them, I started an African club so I can identify with them, so that they can have a sense of dignity. So I was the president of the African club in my school. Just they said, "Didn't you were African?" I said, "I am." That was just who I was. But what I did not know was that rebelliousness, that in it there was something that God would later on use. But when I began my journey, my biggest challenge was being accepted by my own. It gets lonely at times, to be frankly honest. And a day like this, where you can be among your own people, and you can have this sense of appreciation, gratitude, makes you even more so believe in the goodness of human beings. It makes you even more so encouraged to keep doing what you're doing. So thank you so much. I do it as a matter of call, as a matter of purpose, but it does feel good to be appreciated. But I appreciate you because I tell Frank all the time, thank you for giving me an opportunity to serve my people, sincerely. Because it's almost a gift to me. I owe Africa a lot because in reality, my family benefited from some of their own doing. Those of us who grew up in privilege, particularly those of us whose family were politicians, we know what happened. We know that no different than the Kennedys and the Rockefellers, who robbed of the nation and created wealth, the first millionaires. But to that, all of us ought to have a sense of duty, an obligation to give back to a continent, a country, a nation that we've taken so much from. And if all of us were to do that, imagine what would happen. So thank you for giving me a platform that I can serve my people and I can have a sense of credibility that I also walk among the Africans. Kenya has so much potential. The best is yet to come. I am so optimistic about the possibilities. Should God give us life and give us grace, the things that we can do, it is amazing. And I assure you this, we will do all that we can to do our part. Because what Frank is doing in this country, you know, I told my wife, I said, he reminds me of me when I was starting out. I mean, he's in the homes. He's become their coach, their pastor, whatever they need. That is how I did it. And so that just moves my heart so much that we're going to partner with Frank, whatever it takes. We're going to do it because he's given all he got. And thank you for coming around here. I just want to encourage you all, you know, because I know what it takes to do what he does. It's not easy. It's not easy. So as he serves you, and I know you do because I see how you appreciate him. You treat him just like my first student treated me. And I tell you, in those days when it was hard and difficult, that was what kept me going. You know, I never forget, and I tell all the time, that Nehemiah was built on the back of African Americans. Even though today we serve a predominantly white community. But I never forget those early African Americans who came alongside me and believed. We walked together, fought together, and built together. And yes, they were challenged, and yes, many of them are no longer with us. But without them, I would not be standing here today. They were my people. And they did it not just for us in America, they also did it for you. Because many of them, like John, have a sincere heart for Africa. They have a sincere heart for Africa. And what breaks my heart the most is that they're not able to see the fruit of their labor. The other day I was talking to a pastor out of Washington, D.C., who was with us in the beginning, after he attended Nehemiah Week. And he said, Patrice, would you come back to Washington so we can bring the old gang back? So that they can see how God used them and what God used them to do. Guys, understand this. You are here in Kenya, you're all black, and you have your issues, but one thing, you don't have an issue of having a sense of insecurity, having a sense of, who you are. You know who you are. You know your village. You know your grandparents. You know where you come from. It's very different in America. It's very different in America. And so he said, Patrice, please come. Because they have to see that something that they're sowing in is not touching Asia. It's not touching Europe. It's not touching Africa and Latin America. For the black man in America, that means a lot. So as we sow in you, we also need you to know that we're going to need you as well. We're going to need you as well. Because there are Africans in America who do not have the same sense of dignity that you have. Who just want to know that they're matter, they're valued. And you carry the pride that they're looking for. So we need each other. And so Joan, please come on up. So Joan, though she was not born in America, she was born in Jamaica. But Joan is one of those, no different. When Joan and I met, this woman she's very accomplished, but also had her own journey of struggle. And when we met, the first thing she said to me, Patrice, I've always wanted to go to Africa. Can I go with you?
Wow.
Not for anything, not for what she can get. Can I just go with you? Because for many of them, this is the motherland.
Yeah.
It's coming back home. That's what when Frank said to her when they first talked, welcome home. For her, it brought tears in her eyes. Because she is the great-great-great-great-grandchild of a slave that left this territory. So for her, it is coming back home. And so she invested. It was actually me that said, Joan, we got to make this trip sustainable. I said, I know it's your first trip to Africa, and she's quick on her feet. That's what I like about her. And we began to make sure that we were ready for business. Because, and I said to her, I said, Africa doesn't need any more missionaries. We need businessmen and women. So you coming home, Joan, to do business. Because if you come home and do business, you're going to come again. And you're going to bless the land. But if you come home as a missionary, then what's happened before is going to happen again. We don't need any more of those. So Joan, won't you say hello to the people?
Brothers and sisters, hello.
Hello.
I feel so honored to be here. I feel like I'm home. And John, I really mean it. I need a piece of land. Close to the White House. But I am so excited to be here. As Patrice said, I was born in Jamaica, but I have been living in the States for 32 years, so I'm Jamaican. Jamaican American. And when I first met Patrice and heard about Africa, and this is what I know about vision, and I'm sitting and I was listening to John, and I heard from Nina today, and I'm blown away. My heart is full. My heart is completely full. I've been sending pictures back to the States just to show my family and my friends about the Africa that we don't hear or see. We don't hear this. We don't hear about this. We don't hear about the school that has been around forever. We don't hear about the building that was like 25 years ago when it started and what it looks like now, and the new building that's going up. And so this is what, and I'm a publisher. I believe in storytelling. I believe that everyone, no matter what the journey is, have a gift, because the story is a gift. The story is a vitamin or a painkiller. You either enhance someone's life with your story, or you are a problem to a solution. And I am shocked that I don't hear stories from Africa about what John is doing, or about what the school is doing. I don't hear these stories that Albert is doing. And so I want that to be told. I want people in the United States and around the world to hear these stories. You guys are the epitome of who we look up to. This is the motherland, and every black person in America is looking at you. Because what we see is not what is the reality. I understand there is highs and lows here, like anywhere, but this is what we want to see, and this is what we want to hear. And I wanted to be a part of this so that I can assist in some way to usher those stories so that we can feel good about the progress that this country is making.
Wow. My Lord. My Lord. So she's going to help us publish. You know, I've given one of my babies to Joan, Nehemiah Publishing, because that's her gifting, her calling. And we're going to make sure that every story that we be told is told, because it is time for us to write our stories.
Yeah.
Do you know that right now the biggest money makers are these docuseries and all of these mini-series and so forth? And some of you, your story could be a good docuseries. You follow me? And so we know I'm going to stop at book publishing, and then eventually going to transform it into movies and TV shows. Because if our children start seeing us
Come on
an image of themselves,
Yes.
right? Not the cartoon character they see today, but a true reflection of what's possible. When the Cosby Show came on television in America, it changed how we viewed ourselves. Because we were able to see a black family with a lawyer and a doctor. It made us believe it was possible. That was just the 1990s. So Joan, thank you so much.
My pleasure. God bless you. Thank you.
Gina, please come on up quickly. Now, none of this would be possible without my wife. This woman not only believed in me, but also she sacrificed a great deal. You know, when I began the journey, I forsook everything, and she worked so that we can do it. Matter of fact, before actually, when I was homeless until I moved in with her, when we got married, she said, "We're gonna live." I said, "Well, your parents' house." I've been looking forward to leaving my parents' house. What do you mean? I said, "Well, you're not paying rent. So if we stop paying rent, then maybe you can be an asset to your family." And the rest is history. And their parents had just adopted me. They felt so bad for me. So thank you, baby. Thank you for being here.
Patrice is such a strategist. So even when we're dating, he was strategizing, showing me how I can be an asset. And even his proposal for marriage was a business deal. So. But I am truly, truly happy to be here, and I just want to thank God for the Tiongos. Thank you so much for hosting us. Thank you for the BE family for being here, for your commitment and dedication to building a kingdom business. As I was sitting here just listening to all of those who came up to share, I thought about the many times as we were building the ministry when we wanted to give up because it was so hard. The many opportunities that we had to merge with someone else and take the easy route, and it would have watered down the whole program. And I'm just grateful that we didn't give up. And so I just want to encourage you to say, no matter what you're going through as you're building your company, don't give up, because what you're doing is going to be impacting generations to come. And so you guys encourage us. When we see the fruit of our labor, you guys are the harvest. And so we're so grateful, we feel so humbled to be able to be here.
Wow.
And thank God for Patrice seeing the potential and everyone that he came across. And so I am glad to have partnered with you, Patrice. You're my best friend. You're my everything. So.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. Wow.
So with that said, please, if you don't plan to come on Friday, because on Friday I want to talk to you guys about the potential that we have as a collective. Because we're not just doing this just to build businesses. We're doing this to do what? To take over neighborhoods and start, things fresh. So please come, because I want to talk to you about the concept of building a closed system versus an open system, and what that means, what's the difference. And lastly, next year, Frank, we'll be back, because we're going to do that summit here in Kenya.
Yeah.
I am just, and we're going to bring many of us with us. And that's going to be so exciting. And then also, I was telling Frank today, and we're talking about it on Friday, that we need a sign. So when we walk into your businesses, we know who is an e-community member and a biblical entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And so next year, we're going to introduce that, so that we begin to identify who we are with each other. As I walked into his business and I said, you know what? We need that symbol. So guys, the best is yet to come. Thank you so much. Thank you.